Coral bleaching episode, The Chronology of Events. My name is Anwar Abdullah and I'm the founder of Ocean Quest Global. This presentation is part of a series that follows the coral bleaching event as it's unfolding. I'll bring to you the insights of the daily observation made at the reef in Perhentian Island, its environmental trends, and the process of documenting it. Observation began in April before the onset of the 2024 bleaching episode. The bleaching episode is an acute impact stemming from the sudden spike of water temperature in the reefs. The high temperature trends reaching 31.7 degrees that stays for 3 weeks trigger the mass bleaching. Temperature anomaly and the swing of weather, heat waves and dry air compounded to the bleaching episode. As the bleaching period has not ended yet, we can only describe the chronology up till this presentation is made. For a complete conclusion, we will need to wait until the bleaching event has ended. In this presentation, I prepare several topics that are relevant to the study of the impact and recovery of reefs. First topic is an introduction about how the mass bleaching occurs. The second topic is the chronology of events, which is presented now as a timeline. Although the bleaching episode is not yet over, I am presenting as part of the observation that is already made. This means that the timeline for observation shall continue until the end of the bleaching episode. The third topic is about the impact and severity of this 2024 bleaching at the reefs in Perhentian. This includes the trend on seawater temperature and environmental conditions that have influence on corals. The topic that will present, this topic will be presented separately from the part that I'm presenting now. The fourth topic is the processes of observation itself, including methodology, instrumentation, and technologies used for data gathering. I will also mention the aspect of observations and its constraints. Then finally, the fifth topic that will be discussed is the focus of how the recovery will take place based on observation we made. This interpretation are an estimate and also an anticipation of the natural recovery of corals from weather shifts and dispersal of new coral genes. So from this 5 topic, introduction, timeline, impact and observation and forecast, it will be too long to be presented in one presentation. Therefore, I'm breaking down this presentation to 4 presentations. I will first now present the timeline, and then in the next presentation I will discuss mainly on the impact, on how it unfolds on the coral reef itself based on field observation. And then the third topic is about observation itself. How is it made, and how wide, how broad, and what are the accuracy of data that is expected out of this, so that we can use this data to interpret the outcome of this bleaching event. Then finally, we will, based on the quantitative survey, we will then make a prediction or a forecast of how long or how much the reef will be impacted or recovery based on the data that is gathered in the observation. So in these 5 topics in here, I will present only about the timeline so that we can follow the timeline as per it is unfolding. Okay. This timeline, in this timeline, I will include the seawater temperature data, the images of coral through all stages of the bleaching episode, and this timeline is by no means complete yet, as the bleaching period has not ended. And gauging from the rise of global temperature by 1.18 degrees Celsius above the 20th century average temperature. And this corresponds to the local temperature anomaly. However, the rising temperature does not remain or prolong, and there is a weather shift that also influenced to the favor of the corals. Here, the time selected is based on dates that carry significant data to help me clearly describe the chain of events up till now. Pre-bleaching period. So this period of observation is from the beginning of April 2024 to the onset of the mass coral bleaching episode by the first week of May 2024. So the corals in Perhentian have survived its local average sea temperature of 30.5 degrees Celsius, and the coral continue to thrive in this average temperature. As you can see in the image on the left side, the top left of this slide, the image was taken on the 16th of April. The temperature of the water temperature at that point is 30.8 degrees Celsius, and the weather condition is sunny throughout the day, and there is no rain, it's a high humidity and very hot day. On April 25th, the sea water temperature remains at 30.8 degrees Celsius, and the corals are displaying a slight pale coloration. The weather condition is sunny with ambient temperature reaching 37 degrees Celsius during the afternoon. The air is very still and there are very little cloud. This is if this condition prolonged, the seawater temperature can rise and can have a catastrophic effect on corals, of course. So we move on to the next slide. Of mass bleaching episode begins on May 11, 2024. Corals are paler and most have lost their color at the synostium, at the base of the branches. The polyps respond to the loss of zooxanthellae by extending the tentacles to regain energy through heterotrophy, meaning that it's their natural reflex to respond to the lower input of energy from photosynthesis due to the lessening of zooxanthellae. The polyp itself will then extend its tentacle even during the day to capture food, to replace the energy source from photosynthesis to acquired sustenance. In 2024, the bleaching period is still rising, with over 70% of the corals are bleaching or beginning to bleach. This impact can be observed on corals from genus Perhentian, Acropora and Montipora. The remaining, which are not bleached, either is resilient or at the early stage of bleaching. So that will not be included in fully bleached yet. On 19th of June 2024, corals are reaching advanced stage of bleaching with over 90% of the surface are bleached. Most colonies are struggling, and the onset of dying is seen in patches. In this instance, many colonies may succumb to the bleaching. And at this point, the weather condition still remains very dry and very hot at the average air temperature of about 35 to 37 degrees during the afternoon. The seawater temperature is still remain at 31.7 degrees Celsius. And this has a very bad outcome to the corals, especially in the shallow areas. But at this point, even the corals at 20 to 22 meters deep are also bleaching at this point. By 30th of June 2024, after a few nights of rain and cloudy weather, and the sea surface temperature stabilized at 30.5 degrees Celsius, and there are signs of recovery. Following a count during dive at Pulau Serengeti, it is estimated that 35% of the bleached coral are regaining its color or recovering, and the mortality rate is approximately 30%, and the remaining are still under observation. This observation will continue until the bleaching episode ended. Then only the mortality count can be made to get the true count of how much mortality is caused by this bleaching and what are the recovery potentials. The rebound of the coral from bleaching state to recovery state is observed in early July 2024. As you can see on the slide, it is dated July 2nd. This can be seen as the coral colonies regaining their color. And also active heterotrophic activity is observed when surviving coral are extending their tentacles during the daylight hours to feed. That means they are supplementing their energy needs through heterotrophy, or by feeding on the nutrients from the water column, instead of relying entirely on the photosynthesis. The coral now switch to the second energy source, that is from acquired sustenance. Weather is stormy during the morning and late afternoon. Conditions are generally cloudy. It is good that the cloud helps reflect the sunlight back to space, returning the seawater temperature to its local average of 30.5 degrees Celsius. By the second week of July 2024, there are many coral colonies that have seen recovering and regaining their color. The evening showers and windy conditions with northerly swells help improve water circulation in bays and lagoons. Water temperature dips down to 30.3 degrees Celsius. Now we have reached the end of the timeline, and the observation will continue to document this bleaching event until the bleaching ends. Only after this period that mortality count can be made to estimate true impact of the bleaching episode. The next presentation is about the true impact of the 2024 coral bleaching around the region, including the Perhentian Island.